It took me forever to learn that I had to be the hero of my own story. But life can be confusing when you've been raised on television. Hey guys, my name's Tabitha. I'm 21 years old, and I finally figured out what I want to be when I grow up. I went to college because my parents told me it was important, but I didn't really know what I was doing. If you asked me what I really wanted, the answer would be binge watching TV. That was my comfort zone. But you can't get a degree in Netflix and chill. My guidance counselor was saying that I had to choose a major. I had burned through all my basics, and now it was time to make a decision. It sounded so artificially adult, as if you can identify yourself with just one thing. My parents were busting my chops about it too. Even my boyfriend Parker thought it was time to make a decision. It was easy for him. He wanted to be a heart doctor since he was like 12 years old or something. I was lucky to have their help, and like Parker said, I couldn't be a full-time couch potato forever. He asked me what my favorite thing to do other than watch TV was. And I said that I wrote some fan fiction. I told him all about my storylines for Game of Thrones and Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Doctor Who. He suggested writing my own stories, but Parker didn't get what it meant to be a true fan. To truly fall in love with the hero or to absolutely despise the villain. But he was right. I needed to choose a major. So I called up the counselors and told them to sign me up for photography. I had taken some basic courses and it seemed to do pretty well. My parents were thrilled. And they bought me this really awesome 35mm camera. And the next semester, I enrolled in an advanced course. But I was kind of distracted because there was a new show that just came out and I was totally obsessing over it. I wanted to be like Enola Holmes, who was a detective at heart. I loved the show, but I didn't think that I was going to stumble upon my very own mystery. It started with a strange photo that I accidentally took. See, I had gone home to my parents' house for the weekend. I was trying to finish this family-themed assignment where you had to capture your family in their most telling poses. But my dad was out of town, so it was just me and my mom. Which was hard because we hadn't exactly been getting along lately. We just had nothing in common. She was critical of every choice I made. And I didn't think we could escape this weekend without getting into some kind of stupid fight. Then again, she was the only one that could help me with my assignment. But every time I asked her to take pictures, she'd get a call or a text. And she would suddenly have to go. It wasn't like her, and I started to get suspicious. So I watched a few hours of TV while my mom went wherever she went. And finally, I decided to take pictures of the house. I thought my dad's old catcher's mitt or my mom's perfume collection would make a good close-up photo. But when I opened my mom's drawer, I saw something strange. It was her wedding ring. I didn't think too much about it at the time, but later I saw something else. It was a shot of the front door. I saw a man's jacket I had never noticed before. I went to the front, and sure enough, the jacket was still there. It was leather. It was super strange because my dad's vegan. He would never purchase any leather products. I got this theory that my mom was cheating while my dad was out of town. I felt just like Enola Holmes, out to find the truth. If there was anything photography taught me about myself, it was that I had an eye for detail. I got so excited that I binge-watched everything I could on the show and told anybody who would listen. Parker said I was my own detective, and even though I was furious at my mom, I felt good about myself. I was taking the idea to heart and considering double majoring in photography and forensic science, but I still needed to unravel the mystery of who and why. The next day, when my mom was taking a call in her bedroom, I went to the upstairs bathroom because they shared a vent. And I listened to what she was talking about. I heard her say, "He doesn't suspect a thing." And then she asked when they could meet up again before he's back in town. Later, when my mom was in the other room, I scrolled through her phone, and her last call was to some guy named Louis. Then, suddenly, my mom had to go again. She walked out the door, but a few minutes later, she came back. She grabbed the leather jacket and took it with her. And there it was. I knew it. I thought about following her. I would take my camera and stay quiet, tailing her every move. I would find the coffee shop they went to or the motel room they were at, And just when she'd think they were alone, that's when I'd jump out and let my presence known, and that's when I'd snap my picture. How's that for candid, Professor? I'd have my proof, and I would show my dad. But when I was telling Parker my plans, he thought I was jumping to a lot of conclusions, and he told me to be careful meddling in my parents' drama. I calmed down, and even though I knew I was right, part of me just wanted to escape back to school and forget about it. I left without seeing my dad, and I put the family secret back in the drawer, so to speak. After I got back to school, I told my counselor for my plan for a double major, and I tried to focus on myself. But that family drawer opened right back up again. My mom posted this anniversary picture of her and my dad, and she was writing all this bogus, lovey-dovey stuff about marriage and commitment, and I was just furious. I couldn't get it off my mind. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore, and I drove all the way home. I interrupted them in the middle of dinner. I grabbed my mom and took her outside, and I told her that I knew what she was doing. I knew about Louis and his leather jacket, and I heard all about her secret. I was about to march inside and tell my dad, but my mom told me that if I wanted to know the truth, I could. She gave me her phone. Go ahead, look. She showed me Louis' texts, and they were talking a lot, but the more I read, I realized he was giving her baking lessons. You know your dad's favorite Boston cream pie? She asked me. Of course, I said. Dad says it's the reason he fell in love with you. She admitted that she didn't know how to make a Boston cream pie. She told me that her friend Louis was a chef. Years ago, he helped her make a pie to impress Dad, but she never told him that she didn't make it. Ever since then, Louis's been stuck helping her out. That's my big secret, she said. Mom asks for his help on birthdays and anniversaries. And that was why Louis and his leather jacket was in my picture that weekend. It wasn't cheating. I felt like if I was Enola Holmes, I was going to be canceled. I told my mom how dumb I felt. I thought I was some kind of detective, but not anymore. You've got to be kidding, she said. You've got real talent. You can't quit. I figured she was blowing smoke to make me feel better. But then she pointed out that she had kept Louis and his Boston cream pie a secret from my dad for years. And it took a real detective to figure out the truth. But I was wrong, I told her. She tossed me a dictionary and asked me to look up forensics. I learned that forensics was a search for the truth. And you found the truth. It was kind of weird, but my mom was actually proud of me. She told me about these forensic file shows on TV, and I didn't know that my mom even watched TV. I thought maybe we had more in common than I realized. By the time that I made it back to school, I felt this new sense of who I was and where I was headed. I happened to glance through my old fan fiction, and I realized that watching heroes on TV and writing about them in fan fiction was a really comfortable way to live. But I also realized that everything you want is right outside your comfort zone. It's funny. If I never suspected a family secret plot in my own life, I never would have learned to try something new, like forensics. Venturing out into the world can be scary, but how else can you find your path? Do you know what your path is? Tell us all about it in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more hidden wisdom stories. Remember, when you share our stories, you're sharing wisdom.
Citizens are also urged to lock and barricade all doors, windows, and any other point of contact. on a plan to contain the outbreak.